Welcome back to my tutorial for Gears 5 on Insane Mode Solo. There's nothing too extreme in the rest of this act, difficulty-wise, so it shouldn't be too bad if you've gotten this far. Should be able to finish off the rest of this act pretty easily. One thing to keep in mind is to, if you don't have a Lancer on hand, make sure to get one soon by this point so that you can have it for a little bit later, because you're going to be fighting a lot of the robot enemies coming up, and that's going to be one of the main things you're fighting. So I recommend having a Lancer as one of your weapons, so just make sure you have one. A Lancer with a chainsaw, not the Lancer that I have right here with the explosives. But you're going to want that chainsaw because you can save a lot of ammo, and not only that, it kills the robots extremely quickly, so it makes a few areas much easier. Especially one area where there's a lot of robots. It's just all robots, so you don't have to worry about gunfire. All you have to worry about is isolating the robots and chainsawing them. You just have to have, you have to kind of isolate the crowds, and try to isolate one at a time. If you get too close, if you try to chainsaw one while there's other ones close by, you'll get killed. But it's just a little bit of crowd control. But I was able to beat it on my first try doing it like that, so it's very easy to do, I thought. So I recommend having that Lancer. For this part, this is like a tutorial for your new stim ability. And with stim, I didn't use it on hardcore really at all, but I'm seeing on this difficulty it seems to be awesome because it can keep you from getting killed when you're about to die. And it can also keep you from getting killed by certain one-hit kills and things like that. So it can be hugely useful if you can anticipate when you're about to get hit. Or if you're about to die, you can just use it and it can save your life. So the stim ability, I think I'm going to be highly recommending it for Insane Mode. I was already finding it really useful, in the little time that I've had it for the rest of this act. So yeah, I mean, once you get through the fire, you're going to have to fight some snipers, and the snipers can one-hit kill you if the laser's on you for too long, so don't sit there on the laser or you'll just die. But aside from that, I mean, you can just stay back and take your time and just pick these guys off. It's very easy. There's very little to provide much of a challenge from what you've already beaten. The hardest part so far is still the courtyard fight with the pouncers, I think. Even though they gave you several checkpoints, that there was one checkpoint that was pretty hard that I covered in the previous video. So yeah, you're just going to pick these guys off. You can use whatever weapons you want. Boltok always works good, Lancers, just about anything. You can pick up this rocket if you want this rocket launcher. I mean, you're not going to need it, but it's kind of fun to fuck around with and take out a few robots at once in some of these crowded areas. It's not going to be that useful though. I mean, maybe if you saved it for a long ass time, you could get some use out of it. But like I said, there's nothing that difficult coming up, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But if you want it, you can take it. It can be a decent way to clear out these robots since they don't get too far apart, so chainsawing them can be a little risky. I mean, you could just wait for them to come in the hallway and chainsaw them, I guess, but they will one-hit kill them. And there's no risk to you. If they walk into your chainsaw, they just get fucked, so they can't do anything to you if you're walking at them with a chainsaw. But if you're chainsawing one of their buddies, they can finish you off while you're chainsawing them, so that's why you have to isolate them and single them out, that's all. Yeah, so now they try to show you some stealth here where you can stealth kill these guys that don't do anything. Of course, if you get in front of them, they will attack you, and then all of them will start attacking you. So you want to try to stealth kill as many as you can. I don't know if that one has to spot you. I didn't even really need to go in that area, so, I mean, the only thing over there is an overkill shotgun, so if you want that, you can risk alerting the enemies. But you don't really have to do that unless you really want that weapon. But yeah, when they do come out, as long as you have your Lancer on you, you'll easily be able to dispose them. Now, there's going to be a part a little bit later in this area, in about a minute or so, that there's going to be a lot of robots that come out. I didn't know how to stealth kill them all, so they did get alerted at some point, and they did all rush. So, for that, it's still very easy. You may not want to chainsaw them right away for that part because you'll probably get killed, but you can just pick off at them from a distance. And then eventually let them chase you back to the beginning of the area, and then you can start chainsawing them. Because you can use the cover to separate them. and, you know, chainsaw them around the corners and such. You know, pretty basic, easy to deal with. I was just fucking around with the missiles here because, you know, I knew I didn't have much use for that thing. So, you know, I didn't really care about wasting it. So you can do that if you want to bring it over. You might as well bring it in to this area. But yeah, now you're going to have some, you know, everybody's alerted, so you're going to have some robots rush you. There's a decent amount of them that come at me at this point. So I just decided to, you know, to take it easy and just run back to the beginning of the level and start fucking with them, start picking at them. I think I even wasted a few sniper rounds, which really wasn't necessary. I was, you know, I was being a little wasteful, but you don't have to do all that. But it doesn't hurt to shoot at them with the Lancer, because you'll get plenty of Lancer ammo later on, so you really don't need to be throwing grenades and doing all that kind of shit. I don't think that's all needed, but when they're crawling on their stomachs, watch out, because if they get to you, they'll explode on you and they can instantly kill you. So just be wary of that. Keep a distance from them when they're crawling, or just pop their heads off and end them. I don't think you can chainsaw them when they're crawling on the ground, but I didn't even try because they explode, so I can't confirm that. You're free to experiment with that if you like. See what happens. But yeah, I decided not to try that. Yeah, so now that you're back at this beginning area, you got lots of tables and, you know, other stupid shit that you can kind of just circle strafe around and chainsaw them. So, you know, you shouldn't have too much of a problem with this. This should be very fucking easy. It's kind of a break after all the shit we've been dealing with, especially in the last video with the, you know, the pouncers and all the other shit. So, there's not going to be anything too difficult. The boss is a little bit of a pain in the ass initially, but the Swarmak boss, but, you know, I did find a good cover point for the second half where you're, you know, mostly focusing on popping the blisters on his back. I found a good cover point that seems pretty safe, so I'll explain that more in detail when that part comes up. And, you know, as always, don't forget, I mean, I say it every video, but, you know, some people are going to be watching this. You know, they're going to be on one. They're just going to check one part. They're not going to watch the whole series. So I will be repeating a lot of stuff. But yeah, make sure you scavenge the areas and get all the you know, get all the components you can find. I don't think there was any components in this little hotel area right where I was. You know, that part of the hotel anyway. But I don't remember exactly. So make sure you scour the entire areas and really search. Make sure you get all the components you can, because you're going to want to power up your various abilities, especially that stim. That stim seems fucking crazy. So yeah, for this part, you don't need to use a single bullet. And I got this idea from Sephirim in his videos. He does great videos, and I had seen him play this before I went on this part. So I ended up using his technique, which, you know, was really, really good. So all you got to do is chainsaw these guys. And like I said, just try to chainsaw them when they're alone. You don't want them to be too close to each other. And, you know, use all the cover to circle around and sneak up on them and chainsaw them. They can't shoot you, so all they can do is like try to hit you. So, but if your chainsaw's out, if they try to hit you, they're going to catch their arm in your chainsaw and get fucked. So, you know, don't worry about that. Of course, don't let any crawlers explode on you, but you're probably not going to have any crawling enemies unless your teammates put them in a crawling state, you know, because you're going to be chainsawing. So you're pretty much insta-killing all these guys. So they're not going to get wounded. They're just going to die. So yeah, you won't have to use the tri-shot either, which is good, because there's a tri-shot in here. So you can grab it after you're done with these guys and bring it into the next area. It's right by that table where I'm chainsawing this guy. See, that was a little dangerous. They almost got me there. And see, what I did was I used stim. As soon as I got that red crimson omen around me where I was about to die, hit that Y button and use stim. Make sure you have stim equipped. It's fucking great. It really works great. I think I'm going to be using that for a lot of parts on this mode. But stim will save your ass, like I was said. And Sephirim pointed that out to me, because I wasn't even thinking of using stim, really. I kind of ignored it. I mean, hardcore wasn't difficult for me, so I didn't really... I wasn't fully utilizing all the mechanics of the game. But, you know, I will definitely be for this mode, since you die so fast. It's still way fucking easier than Part 4 was on Insane. No fucking comparison, but... You know... We'll see if there's any more standout parts later on. I don't think there's going to be anything that difficult. After going through hardcore, I'm not anticipating anything too crazy in this game on Insane. But, you know, you do still die very fast. You have more abilities, and I don't think there's as much combat in this game either. But yeah, after you're done with all these enemies, you know, pick up what you want. Make sure, though, to keep a Lancer on your inventory. You want to at least have your Chainsaw Lancer. At least keep that in one of your slots. Because you're going to want that for the robots. I don't think there's a ton of robot fights left, but I think it may be I think it may still be useful in a few areas with the robots. So I would recommend keeping the Lancer on, the Chainsaw Lancer, and bring the Tri-Shot in. You know, you may want to use it on this part because there's a big bullet sponge enemy that'll waste all your fucking ammo. These enemies are kind of useless. I mean, they're not that dangerous, but they waste a shit ton of ammo. So I recommend bringing a Tri-Shot with you, and, you know, from the other room, and just I wasted it all on the bullet sponge swarm enemies, or whatever they're called. But if you want, you can shoot it with your Boltok and all your other weapons and waste all your other ammo on it if you really want to do that. It is optional, but I would recommend using a Tri-Shot. You can pretty much nearly kill the thing with the Tri-Shot, so exhaust the Tri-Shot on it. These things are pretty harmless most of the time. I mean, if you see them flash red, they're gonna shoot out at you. So get behind cover or just roll to dodge. If you time your roll right, you can roll dodge and not get hit. The other thing though that this swarm will do is it'll drop little leech enemies that'll come at you, and all you got to do is hit B to like kick them away, and it'll kill them. So you can you know, those can hurt you, but it doesn't do it that often in this area. It didn't for me. So, you know, after you use your Tri-Shot, you may want to use waste the boom shot up on this shit. You get decent weapons in the next area, so you don't have to worry too much about wasting good ammo. I mean, you probably don't want to waste, you know, all your shit, but I mean, you can use some boom shot and shit. You don't really need it, because you get an M-bar and you get a decent amount of other great shit. You get the Lancers with the explosives on them and shit. You get some pretty good shit in the next area, so just focus on killing this thing. Don't worry too much about your ammo. That is a big thing with these harder difficulties in games like this, is, you know, you try to minimize using your best ammo. You know what I mean? You try to, so that you can carry it over into the next areas. And it's huge in this game, because this game lets you carry big mounted guns and shit, like, you know, missile launchers and shit, into the other areas, which the other gears didn't really let you do for very long. So, huge advantage in this game to do that. Just makes things, you can make encounters way fucking easier. Yeah, so pick up some ammo here. I don't usually show the scavenging shit, but I must have shown it here for some reason. I guess maybe because it transitions into the next area, so maybe I just left that in, but this tutorial is pretty much just combat only for the most part. So, you know, make sure you do all the searching on your own and get all the components you can find. So yeah, there's an M-bar in this area, which is fucking great, but you're not really going to need it for these simple guys. I do end up like running all the way back here just to get the M-bar, which I didn't have to do, so you really don't have to do that. But, you know, depends what you want. I like having an M-bar in my inventory because it can be great. Yeah, so here you can get one of these Lancer GLs with the rocket launcher on it, and just use the rockets on the on this tall, maybe it's a Scion. I don't know what these enemies are called exactly, but this tall motherfucker. I'll just call them tall motherfuckers. But yeah, just take that asshole out. Get rid of him first before you go into that area. And, you know, you got plenty of, like, little rockets with that you can use. So just, you know, exhaust those and kill him. And now the rest of this area is extremely easy. There's really no challenge here. I mean, there's going to be some enemies. But, you know, you can mostly pick at them from a distance. Try not to mistake the your allies for enemies. I almost thought that the robots were enemies at first. But if you notice, they have blue. They have like blue shit on their clothes, so that means they're on your side. And I think they do actually end up doing a decent job clearing out some of the enemies, because they have missiles and shit. I'm assuming they're hitting shit, but, you know, who the fuck knows with AI in these kind of games. So yeah, now you got this swarm again, and Yeah, basically it's going to be the same shit. So, you roll to dodge, but a lot of times if you're just behind cover when they turn red and when they do this, if you're behind cover, you'll be all right. They're not that accurate. They're not, it's not like dealing with those fucking krill in Gears of War 1, which was really fucking sucked. I was not a fan of that shit, but So yeah, you can get an overkill over here, and you can get an M-bar over here. So if you want either one of those things, you can pick them up. You don't have to be super careful with your weapon selection here as far as holding on to the Lancer, because I don't think there's a lot of robot fighting left at this point. So just pick up whatever you're comfortable with. I recommend ranged weapons mostly on Insane. So having an M-bar is great. But the overkill is so fucking good. I often find myself on Insane carrying an overkill too. But if I think I'm coming up on a really hard part or some hard parts, then I'll usually have 2 sniper weapons. I would have an M-bar and a sniper rifle if possible, because you can pull a lot of bullshit. And of course the Boltok, which is great for headshotting enemies from far away. So that's usually my loadout. But overkill is still great even on Insane. You just don't have a lot of time to react. You gotta go to an enemy with intent to kill. You can't hesitate. But it can decimate enemies up at close range. It's a good fucking weapon to have. So it's a good option. One good thing about this game is it totally nullifies the idea of having a regular shotgun at any point in this game, because at any point that you could have a shotgun, you can pretty much always have an overkill, which is way fucking more powerful than the shotgun, the standard shotgun. So there's no reason usually to carry a regular shotgun in this game. The regular shotgun is still shit as well. It doesn't instantly, gib the guys like it does in multiplayer. It should, but it doesn't. It's not very effective in this, especially on Insane. So I don't even like using it on when I play on hardcore, or even when I play on normal. I don't remember it being very good. Even though normal you can pretty much just walk through an area and absorb bullets, and you don't have to really worry. But I always play on hardcore for the first time in these games, which is experience mode in this game. But yeah, I don't use a regular shotgun in campaign. Almost never. Yeah, so now you got a turret type of enemy that's pretty useless. It walks around, I think, a little bit, but it's mostly just a turret and a bullet sponge is all it really is. So for this, all I recommend doing for this is pretty simple. Stay behind one of these pillars mostly, and if you have the M-bar, use that. You can do a lot of damage. Use your stim to come out of cover and take shots, so you can aim and shoot for longer when you're in stim mode before you die. And just the goal should be to take out this turret first and ignore all the enemies. Try to just focus on taking this out as fast as you can. And then all you're going to have is a few robots to deal with, which, you've dealt with much more robots at once than that. So that's all you got to deal with. So it's pretty much the same shit you've been dealing with, but easier. The only threat in this area is this turret. I guess if you let this turret live for too long, it would be frustrating, because, you'd have robots probably overwhelming your position. And I think that does happen to me once. But I also recommend going in the menu, in the accessibility section, and instead of having it set the tap button, put it set the hold buttons for various actions. Because if you hold the button and you have it set to hold, when it's making you mash B, you always seem to get out of those melee encounters. Now, if you tap it, I don't know. There may be times when you're not tapping fast enough. I didn't try it. I always put hold because I don't like having to mash buttons for no reason. So I recommend changing it to that if you haven't already. But yeah, anyway, if you do get overwhelmed, you may be able to mash, or hold your way out of it would be, and just make sure you take out that turret. Now you got a few scragglers left, but it's very easy. If you do still have a Lancer with a chainsaw, you can use that to chainsaw them all. There's even there's a chainsaw Lancer in this area as well. It's on one of the barriers that's rotating around. I think there's a chainsaw Lancer on one of them. So if you really want to go around and chainsaw these guys, if they're giving you trouble and you want to chainsaw them, you can do that. But you're probably not going to have any problems with this. And of course, Jack has the shock ability, which is always useful to use often. And like I said, if your life does get low at any point, just use stim, and that'll probably give you enough time to get out of there and survive. And it also can prevent you from when you're just about to die. When you see that red icon coming up on your screen and you're real close to death, just hit stim. There is a delay, though. I mean, the robot doesn't always do things instantly, and he doesn't do them right away. So, you know, you can't always rely on it to be precise, you know. But if you're a little bit, if, you know, it can save your ass more likely than not. More often, it'll probably save your ass. So yeah, you can get a try shot in here, which I recommend getting. Now, if you do go in here to take a shit, be aware that there is this enemy right here that is a, you know, they are kind of like bullet spongy. So if you're trying to shoot him with the Lancer, he may get to you and blow up and kill you, because they will kill you in one hit if they blow up on you. But it's just a regular robot that you've been dealing with. It's just a crawling, you know, wounded version. So yeah, this is the last encounter, and this can take a while. My strategy, I don't know if it was great, but it works. What I do is I go to this area first, and I shoot at the blisters, obviously, and I use the robot to stun the Swarmech every so often when I'm able to do so, and get extra shots at the blisters. And I focus on the blisters on the front of his body first. So I spend a while just working on those. You want to pop all the blisters on his body, pretty much. Though I don't think you have to pop them all. Once his life gets down to a certain point, a cutscene cuts in, basically, and Cole will finish him off. So you don't have to deplete all his health. But for now, I'm working on the blisters on the front. And, you know, use the stim when your life is getting low and when you need to. It seems you'll be mostly safe from the rockets in this position, but sometimes they can get to you. So it can be dangerous. And if you see that he's firing rockets and you have stim, you may just want to use the stim just to make sure you don't get blown up. But yeah, in a little while, you'll see me find a better way to shoot at his back. I could have done this a lot sooner, but I didn't know this positioning. But you'll see me do it maybe in a few minutes. You know, had I known, I would have done it sooner. But you'll see it in the video, and it should give you an idea, and you'll be able to implement that whenever you want. For the first part, I would stay on these covers here and just focus on the blisters on the front of his body. I think this is a decent vantage point to get the blisters on the front of his body. You know, and once you finish with those, then there's another cover point that I think is much better for dealing with the back blisters. I was doing it by that Jeep, but it was very dangerous. You can get blown up very easily by the missiles. It's not safe at all. So, yeah, I'm gonna recommend another area after these are taken care of. But yeah, once you know that, it's a pretty easy boss. It just takes a little while, you know. Yeah, now I try to use the M-bar here, but the M-bar is really not a great weapon to use for this guy unless you have him stunned already, or if you're using stim, you know, because it'll give you enough time to take your shot in stim. But the M-bar is, you know, it's not the easiest thing to use against this guy. And I didn't mean to jump over that barrier, but that you saw that almost got me killed. Because of the delayed controls, you know, sometimes you hit A twice to try to move his ass, and he jumps over the cover. So there's always been that. But yeah, so now shortly, you'll see me transition to the next area that I recommend going to. Yeah, see over there's some ammo and there's some cover. So, and actually by this wall, you'll see where I'm at. I take cover right here. And I found that the explosives that he fires never hurt me from this position, and he wasn't able to shoot me, obviously, because I was behind cover. So the missiles didn't really hurt me. Now, if you popped out at the wrong time while the missiles were coming, of course you'd be dead most likely. But as long as you're, you know, crouched down when the missiles launch, you should be all right in this position. This is one of the only safe areas I found. So. Even the other area where I was shooting at the front is not a completely safe area, but this seems pretty damn safe. Now, at some point, one of the characters announces that enemies are appearing. You know, just ignore that. Don't worry about the enemies. They never got to me. I mean, it may be possible if you take super long that they may get to you, but I just completely ignored them, so I recommend not even worrying about them. And just shoot at these blisters. Now you have a good position to shoot at the blisters on his back. You know, now he won't always be facing his ass to you, so you'll have to wait around. Stunning him doesn't work so great from this position because he usually faces the wrong way. So it's better just to wait for him to turn his ass and then take the shots. So hopefully you have some Lancer ammo or something like that. There's not a ton of ammo pickups in the area, but you should have enough ammo. If need be, you can use Stim and try to grab a Lancer or a weapon off of one of your teammates, but, you know, shouldn't have to do that. You can also pick up whatever's on the field using the robot, obviously. But yeah, very shortly by this point, he's almost dead, so soon you'll get the final scene. It's basically an interactive cutscene because you don't have to shoot him once Cole drives the motorcycle into his mouth. So you can pretty much just sit around. That's what I did. I just waited, and then he'll just die. And if you want, you know, use Stim, but I don't think you'll have to use it from here because I never got blown up. So I found this part to be very easy. And this is at least half of the boss fight, so I mean, really not that hard when you know a few positioning tricks. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this section, for this part of the game. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll definitely be posting up the rest of the game. And thanks for watching.
Mm-hmm.